Hey everybody, it's Jason Will. Just want to take a quick second to remind you that my Impact Agent University conference is happening this April 11th and 12th, 2019 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Get your tickets at impactagentuniversity.com and use promo code JASON10 for a 10% discount off your tickets. Ready? Ready to rock and roll? Is that action? All right. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely. Go. Go.
Hello everybody, it's Jason Will with
Go.
This is a real estate podcast, but we talk about leadership, personal growth, and becoming the best version of yourself. Leadership, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Growth, best version of yourself.
Go.
So this is a real estate podcast. Andrew Martin, welcome to the Impact Agent Podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? I appreciate you having me.
Tell us who you're with and what you do real quick.
Yeah, so I do fee-based financial planning and wealth management. I have my own firm, Atlas Financial Strategies. Work with a lot of business owners and also work with individuals. It's a nice mixture of the two.
And what about territory-wise?
Well, I'm in Pensacola, and I'm based out of Pensacola, so a lot of my clients are in or around the area, but I got clients in Alaska, I got clients in Hawaii, so you got clients all over the place. So I can, the great thing about technology and like we're doing now, it's close to face-to-face as you can get, talk to people anywhere.
So anybody that listens to this podcast and is interested in first of all, maybe interested in growing their individual portfolio or helping their clients do the same, you can help them no matter where they're at in the country.
That's right.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's jump right in. And mainly what we're going to be talking about today, correct me if I'm wrong, is leveraging money, retirement savings in particular to invest in real estate. Is that correct?
Yeah, so particularly in self-directed IRAs. And so when I say self-directed IRA, it can be a self-directed any kind of retirement account. So self-directed 401k, self-directed SEP IRA, simple IRA, Roth, traditional, whatever, right? So I'm just going to say self-directed IRA, but keep in mind that it can be any kind of qualified retirement account.
Okay, sounds good. So unpack this for us. Let's just pretend right now that you're just talking to somebody with just a very basic understanding of even what an IRA is.
Yeah, so that's a good place to start. So just an IRA or any qualified retirement account is a savings vehicle, a way to save money and invest money in a tax-advantaged manner. Let's stick with real estate. So if you buy and sell a house and you realize a capital gain, that's a taxable capital gain. So if I own a piece of stock, not inside of an IRA, just in a brokerage account, and I sell that piece of stock and realize a capital gain, same deal. I got to pay capital gains taxes on that. And they can be short-term capital gains or long-term capital gains. But the point is that within a qualified retirement account, such as a 401k or IRA, if you are realizing gains, if we're talking about real estate in particular, rental income, if you're talking about stocks or bonds, dividend income, all that you don't have to pay taxes on. And it stays within the IRA, and you can keep reinvesting that and reinvesting that and reinvesting that, and you don't have to pay taxes on these gains as they're realized.
So what is the process by which somebody can reinvest these gains in real estate? I would like to know how long it takes to get access to these funds. Just break it down for us.
Yeah, so I think it's a little understood concept or strategy to be able to use a qualified retirement account such as an IRA to invest in real estate. A lot of average people and even real estate agents don't know that this is available or don't know that this is possible. So the point with educating real estate agents or brokers in particular on how to arming them with this knowledge is if you're helping people invest in real estate, they might have just money in the bank or whatever else. They might not have the capability of doing that, but they might have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their retirement accounts that if you don't know that they can tap into to help them invest in real estate in a tax-deferred manner, in a tax-advantaged manner, well, then that's just a bunch of money sitting on the sideline, and they might prefer to have it in real estate as opposed to mutual funds or stocks or bonds or whatever else that they have it in. I have a lot of clients that feel that way. I think real estate agents, this could help kind of unlock this money sitting on the sideline, so to speak, that they don't know that they could, tell their clients that they can use to help them invest in real estate. So again, you might be helping somebody and they're like, I would love to invest more in real estate, but I right now just don't have the capability of doing so. And you could just ask them a simple question. Well, do you have money in a retirement account such as an IRA or 401k? If the answer is yes, then you say, well, do you know that you can, within your IRA or whatever retirement account, 401k, invest in real estate and get all the tax advantages that that retirement account gives you? But instead of owning stock, you own real estate.
Yeah, and I agree. Sorry to interrupt. I think that real estate agents in particular are missing the boat by not combining kind of investment avenues like this and options, these tax-deferred options, with the power of social media. So what I'm seeing right now in the marketplace is that especially folks that have, established portfolios, established investment accounts, and they have money that is sitting in, whether it be a savings account or investment account that is earning a very low yield in terms of the interest and, dividends and things like that. They see the gains that are happening in the real estate market, and they need to be able to take advantage of that. So I feel like the real estate agent's job right now is to help people, educate people by, helping people by educating them on how to make money, save money, and solve a problem. That's with the most important of which, with what we're kind of talking about now, making money.
Right. And if you're not providing clients with this kind of information, you're not setting yourself apart. You're not setting yourself
apart.
Somebody
else is, right?
Yeah, somebody else might be, and then they're going to be the person that client goes to from here on out. So if you want to position yourself as the expert, if you want to set yourself apart, if you want to be, add as much value as you can and become a real estate expert in the eyes of your clients or potential clients out there, you got to add that kind of value. You got to understand how these things work. You got to be a student of all these little ins and outs and how they work. I'm not saying you have to know exactly all the little ins and outs of how a self-directed IRA works. But if you don't know enough to be able to tell them that, hey, this is an option, this is at least kind of how it works, I can get you in touch with somebody who can help you with it. If you don't even know that this is an option and you're not bringing that up to them, somebody else might.
Yeah, I feel like, buyers and sellers are out there. There's a large population, a large percentage of buyers and sellers out there that are waiting to be activated. And on the buy side, you have so many people. I think the latest stat I saw was 49% of the folks out there that want to become homeowners feel like they have to have 20% to put down. On the selling side, people want to know like what the market's doing and what, how things are appreciating. So there's these narratives that real estate agents can be having that are going to activate buyers and sellers. And we know that a huge portion of folks out there want to be real estate investors. They have this goal to be a real estate investor.
Yeah.
But they don't have that. Maybe they just feel like they don't have the liquid cash, or they don't have, their debt to income is off. And so this allows you to help somebody achieve that goal or that dream that they may have not even realized was possible. And it's right at their fingertips.
Right. And again, there's a lot of people that get kind of disenfranchised with the stock market, and they just get kind of tired of all the ups and downs. And, they might have a great year and see a, 15, 20, 25% gain. And then you have, like last quarter, especially December, the stock market sucked.
Yeah.
So, it kind of wiped out a lot of gains, and it was just, so people are just, people appreciate, a lot of people. And I'm not saying people shouldn't invest in the stock or bond market or mutual funds or whatever else. You absolutely should. You should diversify yourself as much as you can. But people like real estate. It's tangible. It's a good store of value. If you're renting it, it's producing income for you, more income a lot of the times than you can get in a lot of other places as far as percentage, and it's going to appreciate in value most of the time. Right. So, I mean, people, to your point, people want to become real estate investors. People love investing in real estate. They're more comfortable with it. Not saying they shouldn't invest in other things that they should, but, again, there might be clients that somebody listen to this right now, probably has a handful of clients at least that has a pretty sizable amount in their retirement accounts that they would like to invest in real estate if they knew it was an option. So if you don't even know that it's an option, and be able to bring that up to them. So I challenge every real estate agent or broker listening to this, go back and take a look at your client list and see if there's people that are, 40, 50 plus, people that probably, should have a fair amount in their retirement accounts at that age. And you just call them, if there's somebody that likes to invest in real estate, or is, alluded to the fact that they would like to invest in real estate, just say, hey, just simple question. Do you have, and you don't have to ask them exact amounts, but like, hey, do you have at least 100,000 in your retirement accounts? The reason I'm asking is because we can use that to invest in real estate within your retirement account. So there's no taxes or penalties. You're not having to withdraw the money. The real estate is held within the retirement account and keeps the same tax deferred status or the tax advantage status that just like your stocks or bonds or mutual funds within your retirement account would have. So I'll kind of go more in depth on how again, I'll use self-directed IRA, but again, it can be any self-directed retirement account. I'll just kind of go into how that works. So there's only certain types of custodians that allow you to invest in real estate under their platforms. In other words, if this person had their money with Fidelity or any number of other custodian platforms, typically, through Fidelity, you're not going to be able to buy real estate. So there's only certain types of custodians that will allow you to invest in real estate within their platform, within the IRA. But you have to use a custodian. So you have to find one of these custodians. You got to be careful about, what fees they charge. If they're charging a flat annual fee, if they're charging transaction fees, what those fees are. You got to make sure that their customer service is good. In other words, that they're, responsive and timely with, if you're asking them to do something for you. So there's two ways basically that you can have a self-directed IRA. There's just a self-directed IRA method, and then there's a self-directed IRA LLC method, which I'll talk about second. So let's talk about just the IRA, the self-directed IRA method. So you're going to have that custodian. Let's say you have $100,000 in your retirement account. You should ideally be able to pay cash for the properties from the money within your IRA. You can get a loan on the property within your IRA, so you can mortgage it, but you have to use what's called a non-recourse loan. It has to be a certain type of loan. There's an extra tax involved. And it's a calculation. It's not necessarily percentage. It's a calculation that goes along with it. But there's extra taxes that you'll pay if you are financing the properties within the IRA. So ideally, if you can pay cash for the properties within the IRA, that's ideal. So if you had $100,000, the rule of thumb is 75-25. So you never want to spend more than 75% of whatever the value is in the IRA on the property. So that includes buying it and any repairs that come from that you spend on the property. Because all the money that you spend on that property must come from the IRA. So in other words, if it needs some plumbing done or it needs painting or any kind of upgrading, you cannot use personal money. You cannot use money from your bank account or whatever else to pay for those upgrades or repairs. Everything must come from the IRA. If you had $5,000 cash in the IRA after you just bought and upgraded this property and something happens and it needs a new roof and the new roof is $15,000, well, you're in a pickle because you only got $5,000 in the IRA, and you can't use personal money, right? So you always want to keep an ample amount of liquid assets within the IRA to be able to pay for any inevitable repairs or upgrades or anything like that on the property. Also, so I'll just start by saying there's tons of rules when it comes to investing in real estate within your IRA, but the tax advantages, which I'll get to, are amazing.
Well, and I would just say this, that, agents that are watching this or listening to it through the podcast, they could get overwhelmed by this and go, well, there's a lot of rules that can screw a lot of things up.
Sure.
But what we need to reinforce is all they really need to do is be able to start this narrative. They should be thinking outside the box. Most real estate offices, if not all, have a decent amount of meeting space. They've got a boardroom, they've got a training room. All of our offices have really nice sized training rooms. So they can utilize that space to have a little seminar. So if they contact their database and they drum up 5 or 10 people, like, whether if they're in the Pensacola area, Alabama Gulf Coast, Mississippi Gulf Coast, you can be in that training room live. But if they're outside the area, you can utilize technology to be there in that boardroom with them to walk them through this.
Yeah. So anybody listening, if a real estate agent office has never had anybody come in and educate them on how self-directed IRAs work, that would be probably the first step, and just talk to the agents and brokers themselves. But then from there, just to give the agents and brokers enough firing power to when they're calling or talking to their clients and, hey, look, we're going to have a seminar or lunch and learn or a workshop or whatever you want to call it at our office. We're going to be talking about how to use your retirement accounts, your IRAs or 401ks to invest in real estate and get all the tax advantages that your retirement account gives you. And then say, we're going to have, however you want to sell it, we're going to have an expert come talk about it, or we're going to have this, however you want to do it. But then, I can be there in person. I'll give it won't even be much of a presentation. I'll give the information. I'll answer questions. And then that, again, could lead to a lot more sales for the agent. Again, you might have somebody that has $500,000 or $1 million in their retirement accounts that they previously didn't know that they could use to invest in real estate. Now, all of a sudden, armed with that knowledge, they go, well, hell yeah, I want to use that money to invest in real estate, and they start telling the agent, start finding me some properties. Here's what I'm looking for. And now you have $500,000 or $1 million cash that you're able to just,
Yeah, and what just happened there is they activated a buyer through education. And I don't even think real estate agents they lack the vision to realize how much they can leverage this. So for instance, if I set up one of these seminars at my office and I'm seriously thinking this is like a no-brainer because we've had you at a lunch and learn, but it'd be way more impactful if we had 5 or 10 people that were large investment accounts. But let's say we make this happen in the near future. What I'm going to do is promote the heck out of it. Like for a week leading up to the event, hey, guess what's happening at our office? So somebody may not even have any investment account, but may see this and go, gosh, that Jason Will or, John Smith is really doing stuff and really is really an expert. So just kind of planting that seed for agents that are watching or listening, how you can be leveraging these things to connect with people that are in your sphere of influence or just maybe have been watching your career to see whether you're going to become this professional where they can, to the level where they can feel comfortable referring their friends and family and coworkers to you.
Well, and you're going above and beyond to add value to clients or prospects, whoever wants to come and listen. And so, through that, you might have people on your social media that see that you've never spoken to, that's never liked any of your posts or anything else, but they might see it and go, you know what, that's interesting, or I've wanted to get more information on that. I'm going to go. And then you're the person that effectively, they came because of you. Right. So who are they going to use? Who are they going to use when, the time comes, if that makes sense for them to do? It could lead to really an explosion in sales for real estate agents if they know. They don't have to know everything. They don't have to be an expert. But if they just know enough to be able to set the hook, so to speak, enough information to say, did you know this is possible? Here's how this works. We're going to do a seminar on it, or I have somebody I can get you in touch with, or whatever the case is. And then you can see if that makes sense for you.
Well, yeah, you and I were talking before we started the podcast about a new agent that just joined my team. And he's golfing with, several, in some cases, like 20 or 40 folks that are well established in the community, wealthy, influential people. And they are actively asking him, hey, what are some investment opportunities out there? How can I leverage my money? And so the game plan for him and I is to get him educated and connected to enough people like yourself so that he can get educated and have just a very basic yet intellectual conversation about this and gain the trust of this community. And what I know about these folks is that they network with each other hard and they trust each other and they talk. So if he helps them, grow their portfolio, expanding it out of Wall Street and into the real estate market, they're going to be very appreciative. And, once those gains start to happen, they're just going to go tell everybody who asks. So it's just this domino effect. You're leveraging it on social media. The live event happens. You get them in there. Light bulbs go off. Then they're sending you out into the marketplace to find the deals. And that's another thing. Once you activate, so we're talking about activating buyers and sellers. So once you get a group of active investors who have this brilliant tax-deferred way to leverage their money in their self-directed IRAs, then they can go on social media and go, hey, I got 5 investors, cash, that are looking for a deal. Who do you know that wants to buy or sell or who do you know wants to sell their property, and get for a quick cash, quick closing. So it's just this incredible domino effect.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I'll talk about real quick the tax advantages. So I'll hit mostly on a Roth IRA. So just because I think the tax advantages in a Roth IRA are just so incredible. So Roth IRA, it's after-tax money, and then you never have to pay taxes on it again on gains or anything, assuming you follow the rules. Most qualified retirement accounts, IRAs, 401ks, any of that, really the money is meant to be there until age 59 and a half. All right. So this is retirement money. If you're talking to a 35 or 40-year-old person that they want to invest in real estate and start using the rental income to supplement their income now, not for them. This is retirement savings. But Roth IRA. So can you imagine flipping properties, buying and selling properties, or collecting rental income on properties that you never have to pay taxes on? I want everybody to stop and think about that. I'm going to repeat that.
Right. Flipping
properties, having rental income from properties that you never have to pay taxes on, that you can reinvest tax-free during those growing years, or after you start taking that money out in retirement, assuming you follow the rules, is 100% tax-free. Everybody think about that real quick. If you had $10,000 a month, or if you helped your client have $10,000 a month in rental income, that was all 100% tax-free, think about how grateful they would be.
Question. So I've got a sizable investment account. Let's say I've got a couple $1,000,000 in this account, and it's been one of those years where there was 25% gains. What you were saying earlier on in the interview is that those gains are taxable. It's like a capital gain, correct? Okay. So these people, I mean, they don't want to pay that money to the government. They'd much rather invest it in something.
That's right.
So I just wanted to reiterate that, and because we're talking about the magnitude of this conversation, and I think that's a really powerful conversation to have with these folks, and there's a lot of them out there.
Well, because if you're, these higher income people, or really anybody, but the long-term capital gains are 15% for average people. For the more wealthy people, it's 20%. But the short-term capital gains, anything within a year, so if you bought and sold a house or a stock or whatever else within a year, the capital gains is taxed as income. So the long-term capital gains, if somebody made a 10% gain by selling a property, and let's just say they were a higher income person and they were in a 20% capital gains, it was a long-term capital gains, they really made 8% because 2% goes off the top in taxes. Mm-hmm. So within the Roth IRA, that is a true 10% that you could take that full 10% and reinvest within the IRA. Or, of course, if you're taking it out and using it, that's a full 10%. I mean, you're giving them that's a 20% increase on their investment just by not having to pay the tax.
And that's a powerful dialogue to have with, somebody over a lunch meeting, or using what I call the Facebook as the word of mouth on steroids. I mean, this is just, so many of us real estate agents are not using the technology at our disposal to activate these buyers and sellers. And I know we're hammering that point home this morning, but I think it's really, really important.
Yeah. I mean, again, you need to find time. So again, I'm a financial advisor and I do 15 to 20 hours a week, usually 15-ish, but sometimes 20 hours a week, strictly on reading and research. So, and it really is just I'm not the smartest person alive, but nobody's going to outwork me. Nobody's going to, nobody's going to out-research me. Nobody's going to outread me. And so anytime you come across, so you need to be a student of what you're doing. And as you come across, some interesting information, put it out there on Facebook. And just little known stuff, things that people, don't necessarily know, or things like this, things like self-directed IRAs. Or things that are, timely. So if something's going on in the economy or in the housing market or whatever else, or in your community, if you can put that information out there, you become you become an expert in people's minds, and people go to you. So, I mean, on my Facebook page, I post stuff all the time, and it's just informational. It's just, hey, here's what's going on with the stock market or economy, or here's some things to consider, or whatever. But, I'm trying to put out some high quality information. And there's a lot of people that might take that information and use it themselves or use it with their financial advisor, never use me. And that's fine. But I'm still the person that gave them that information. I still am the source of that information and, adding value, economy or whatever you want to call it that we're in now. You have to provide value first. You have to give something away. You have to provide value first. You have to set yourself apart. You have to, position yourself as the expert, and then people will come to you because it's a timing issue. So, both of us, people are either ready to do financial planning or they're not. Right. I can't make them. People are either ready to buy or sell a house or they're not. Right. So, but if you're that person where you're constantly in front of them, adding value, giving good information, and if you're the go-to person, if you're the expert, when that time comes, who do you think they're going to reach out to? Probably you.
Right.
So, I get a lot of, not to, say anything about myself or toot my own horn, but I get a lot of compliments on the stuff that I post on Facebook, and these are people that they never, a lot of times they never even like any of my stuff or comment on it or any of that. But every now and then I'll just get kind of a random message for somebody that I don't really know. That's like, oh, hey man, I read your stuff all the time. I think it's great. I appreciate what you do, all of that. So, people, don't get discouraged. If you're doing that and spending time doing it and putting the information out there, don't get discouraged if it's not getting a ton of likes or if it's not getting a ton of comments or whatever, because people are seeing it. I assure you.
This is really good stuff. And so the first point I want to make is there's a big difference between Andrew going on Facebook and going, hey, this is Andrew Martin with Atlas Financial. Do you know anybody that's ready to start the conversation about retirement planning? Or do you know that somebody that wants to invest in a Roth IRA? Then you going on there and going, hey, did you know that there's these tax-deferred benefits for investing, leveraging your IRA to invest in the real estate market? There's a big difference in that. And I see a lot of people in your industry, my industry going, hey, do you know anybody who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That's not the value conversation.
I see that stuff all the time.
And they can't have the point that you made before that I thought was like super powerful and that everybody needs to hear is that they can't have these valuable conversations one-on-one or through social media channels without the preparation, without the research. You're doing 15 to 20 hours a week. And if most real estate agents did 5, like an hour a day, Monday through Friday, that's all that would be required. And they would position themselves as the expert, as the professional in their field.
That's all you got to do. So find books. I don't know of any because I stay in my sphere.
Right.
But there are, newspapers, publications, there's different educational resources for you that if you can inundate yourself. So, I pay a couple $100 a year for these different publications, these different things that come in. When I get them, I read them. I spend the time to read them. There's even stuff on Facebook, pages that you can like, and they're providing that good information. And then you can take that information and, make it your own and put it on your Facebook. But those times, we're always on our phone. So those times when you're sitting at home and you're just, you got 20, 30 minutes to kill, or you're just kind of laying on the couch doing whatever, pick up your phone, look at those pages, whatever real estate pages or whatever are out there, read, get some good information. And then, anything you come across that you think, and you have to put stuff in ways that people can understand.
Right.
But put it on your Facebook. You didn't come up with this information yourself, but, you got the information and gave it to these people. Everybody always says you should invest in your business, and you should. But if you can't invest some time, to read and invest in yourself and invest in your business, because it's self-betterment. You're making yourself a better real estate agent. You're making yourself a better professional. You're making yourself an expert. You're making yourself that go-to person. And then, as you put that word out there, people are seeing it. People are seeing it, and whether they comment on it or like it, it's easy to get discouraged. And sometimes, just because Facebook's crazy, I'm like, I wonder if people are even seeing this.
Right.
But I'll always get. And again, when I see people out in public, people that I don't even really know, quite honestly, or that you kind of vaguely know, they'll come up to me and make a point to say, I read all your Facebook stuff. There was a lady, I was at a funeral, And there was a lady that like works with my aunt, and we're friends on Facebook, and I don't really know her, but she, hey, I work with your aunt and so. She was like, I follow you on Facebook. I see all your stuff. It's great stuff. I appreciate you doing that. I get a lot of good information from it, blah, blah, blah. Think about it. She's legitimately grateful and thankful that I'm taking the time to put this information out there. She may never use me. But that's fine. You know what, though? If somebody ever asks her, I need a good financial advisor, who's the first person that you think she's going to think of?
Right. And you're achieving that by being consistent. You're not just putting this like 1 week you may be very active on social media, and then you just fall off the wagon for 3 weeks. I mean, you've got to be in front of these people.
Deliberate. That's right.
Yeah, it's huge. And the issue I see with, agents is, number one, they're just so frightened of getting on this medium and putting information out there. They're not doing it consistently enough. It's not a valuable conversation because it's just about they're making themselves the hero and not the audience. So there's a lot of problems, but one of the biggest ones, I just want to hammer this hard real quick before we move on, is that lack of preparation. They want to find, they're desperate. So what are they most desperate for? What's the gunshot wound of most real estate agents? And that's finding that next deal, that next buyer, the next seller, putting something under contract. They're so focused on the opportunity that they're not focusing on the preparation leading up to that opportunity. So when the opportunity arises, they blow it because they don't know what to say. They haven't done the market research. They don't know loan programs. They don't know the title process. They don't know how to direct people to tax savings. And I think market knowledge is way more of what's pending and active and sold in your marketplace. It is the investment world, the financial retirement world, it's the mortgage process. It's all the loan programs. It's credit score. It's how to improve credit scores. So all this stuff is really important. And we don't have a shortage of information because of books, like you mentioned, podcasts, YouTube. It's all out there.
Yeah. Right, follow those pages, listen to the podcast, watch the YouTube channels, read, find these publications, find these, whatever it is, take the time to read them. But to your point, it's that fine balance of, if I'm not spending enough time going out and prospecting, trying to find new clients, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have if you're not getting in front of anybody and being able to use that knowledge and value, right? But then also, if you're spending all your time prospecting and trying to get in front of people, but you don't know squat and you blow it because you kind of, you don't know what you're talking about, well, that doesn't do you any good either. So it's that fine balance of, you have to spend time educating yourself and keeping up with what's going on, but then you also can't just, be this brain with all the knowledge, but you have nobody, to help with it. So, to your point, I think a lot of people, real estate agents, spend so much time out there looking for the next deal. But if they're not providing that value, if they're not separating themselves, they might, somebody might use you one time, and then there's no, next time they buy or sell a house, they might use somebody else just because they're there, because there's no separation between you and them.
Yeah. And just going back to that, helping people make money, save money, solve a problem. If you are going to activate these buyers and sellers by helping them make money or save money, but in the transaction process, there's going to be problems. And if you aren't consistently educating yourself and putting yourself in the path of, knowledge, and also, talking to people about, because you may hear somebody in your office go, yeah, this deal went sideways. Well, how'd you solve it? How did you guys get around that? How'd you navigate around that adversity? It's going to come back and bite you. So this is what really this podcast is all about. It is appealing to agents that are learning based, but more than that, appealing to agents who aren't. So I want to, obviously the learning based agents are going to watch this, soak this all up, and start thinking about putting together a workshop, a lunch and learn, a seminar on, tax deferred real estate investing. And some of these agents are not even going to take the time. The majority of the agents aren't even going to take the time to watch this. Right. So my mission, like in life, is to create learning-based agents, because that's the ones that are learning-based. Those are the ones that are scaling their businesses. Those are the ones that survive in down markets as well as good markets.
Yeah. And look, there's a lot of power in being the connector. There's a lot of power in being that person that knows people. I mean, I have clients come to me about, hey, do you know a good whatever, off the wall stuff? Do you know a good dog trainer? Whatever. Just because, if you're the person that knows, you being the connector, being the go-to person when somebody thinks of something like, oh, Andrew knows a lot of people, let me reach out to him. I'm sure he has a client or somebody he knows that does that. But being that person that's like, hey, look, I'm not the expert. If it's a real estate agent saying, look, I'm not the expert on self-directed IRAs. I mean, I kind of know how they work, but I'm not going to be able to walk you through everything and answer all your questions.
Right.
But hey, look, we're having a workshop at the office, and I do know somebody who is an expert on it. We're having a seminar, whatever you want to call it. Come to the office, get the education on it. I can through me, the real estate agent can still provide that information, and so it's still kind of coming through you. You're not the one that actually has to study up on all the ins and outs of how it works and all the rules.
And that's another really good point. So, like, what does Andrew Martin look for in an agent that he refers his clients to? Because if somebody, whether it's a client or just an acquaintance or a family member, if they come to you and say, hey, I'm looking to sell my house, I'm looking to buy a house, I mean, you need to be careful who you refer these people to.
Absolutely. Yeah. So and same thing. So I refer a lot of business out to obviously like CPAs and attorneys and stuff like that, because that goes hand in hand, but I do refer business out to real estate agents as well. But yeah, point is that if I refer them to somebody that does a really great job for them, that looks good on me. It wasn't me. I didn't do it, but that looks good on me. Inversely, if I send them to somebody that either doesn't know what they're talking about or, just kind of does a poor job, that reflects on me too. So yeah, I mean, it is very important, and to get the kind of referrals that you want to get from the kind of professionals that you want to get them from, you need to be the expert. You need to be the guy that people or girl that people are comfortable, sending the business to go, they're in good hands. Not only do I trust them ethically, I trust them from a knowledge standpoint as well. I know that they're going to be in good hands with Jason, so it is very important, again, and that through self-learning, through social media, through adding value, through positioning yourself as the expert, you can become that person to where, again, I've gotten referrals from people that I've never met. People that there was a young guy on Facebook, and he's like, hey, my mom, my dad has cancer. He kind of got let go from his job. They got a lot, they need a lot of help. Mom asked me if I knew a financial advisor, and, I always see your stuff on Facebook. It's great stuff. You obviously know what you're talking about. So you were the first person I thought of. I had never talked to this dude before. He had never liked any of my, anything that I put out there, never commented or any of that. But because I'm putting that information out there and he sees it, I was the first person he thought of. And he referred me to his parents, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. They're really just great people to have as friends, but, they're good clients as well. So, it all just comes through taking the time to become the expert, making sure other people know you're the expert, and that's done through social media typically, is the easiest and most cost-effective way to do that. But if you're not doing it, guys, you're going to get left behind when the economy does inevitably take a turn. That really separates the wheat from the chaff.
There is a way to build a business that is undisruptible, or to a degree where you don't crash and burn when interest rates go up or the economy takes a downward turn. And that's what I see, is that agents that are learning based and take the time to invest in themselves, their personal development, their leadership skills, the language of sales, all these different things, the market knowledge, the product knowledge, they don't look at disruptions in the market as business killers. They look at it as opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like, where this is interesting. This adversity, this conflict in the market is going to create an opportunity for me. And they just know how to respond. and they're being proactive and not reactive. And it's interesting the turn that this interview has taken because, but it is so important. It is so important for agents to hear this. And I think it's especially impactful when they hear it from somebody who's outside their industry, because you're doing a lot of the same things. You have to do a lot of the same things to be successful as we do. And it really is, it translates this professionalism, no matter what field you're in or what concentration you're in, it really is a very similar path to success. And it really is, the foundation of it is education, self-education.
And to your point, the real estate agents and brokers that will probably fare better during the next economic downturn have probably taken the time to study, read books, do some research on, what were the opportunities during 2008, 2009? What separated the agents that survived versus the agents that didn't? Now, I mean, that was a one-off. I don't know if we'll ever have anything in the real estate market that bad again, but that's a good learning experience. Everything being, hindsight, everything being retrospect. I'm sure that there are multiple books out there. I'm sure there's plenty of research out there that you can find that if you can learn from the mistakes that other people made during that time, other real estate agents made, when that time does come, not only, are you going to have the confidence, which I think is very important, to be able to weather that storm, but also the knowledge to where when clients are coming to you, you go, no, hey, look, we've seen this before. This is how this works. This is what you should do. This is what you should consider. This is an opportunity, not anything till your hair's not on fire. You know what I mean? You're going to be fine. This is what we should do. And then do you think, how many real estate agents do you think are confidently walking their clients through something like that?
Not many. And the other thing that I see that's like super powerful is that most folks have very little desire to watch the news these days. Cable news, it's a political hot mess. Mm-hmm. It's very negative. There's all this fighting, all this disagreement. And most super successful people want to maintain a very positive mindset and outlook. So they ward off anything negative. They don't really want to watch the news, and they don't want to be exposed to negative people. So it creates an incredible opportunity for us to really control the narrative. One of the things that's going on right now, there's people talking about a shift in the economy, a shift in the real estate market. Things are slowing down. Interest rates are going up. 2019 is going to be a recession. We're going to, some of the extreme voices out there are going, it's 2008 all over again, and nothing could be further from the truth. And the point I would really want to leave agents with is that, if with this audience that you have, understand that money follows differentiation, not similarities. So this is a way to set yourself apart, and the money will follow you. And you have this honest narrative. You don't want somebody to be on the sidelines from selling because they think nobody's buying a home because interest rates are going up. I mean, so you differentiate yourself in the marketplace by providing a really honest assessment of what's going on out there.
Well, and so coming full circle back to the self-directed IRA thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of that at some point.
There's a lot of people out there that have money in their retirement accounts that are worried about economic recession or whatever it is as well, that I think just as an asset class would love to be in real estate, but they don't know how to tap into the money they have in their retirement accounts without paying massive taxes and penalties to be able to purchase the real estate. So if you're there to tell them, look, if you want to prepare for some sort of, economic downturn, if you would like to invest in real estate because, you feel more confident in its store of value and it can still produce income for you and this, that, and the other, we can use that money from your retirement accounts without taxes and penalties, invest in the real estate and the properties. And so it can be residential, it can be commercial, it can be even businesses. So I won't get into that, but I mean, even businesses. They can use this money that they otherwise would be sitting on the sideline to invest in real estate, to at least with a portion of their portfolio, maybe feel like it's safer in real estate as opposed to stocks, bonds, mutual funds. So that, timing right now might be great because of all the uncertainty. And people might have that fear of, well, why would I keep my money in stocks? Or if I put it in bonds work inversely to the interest rate. So if interest rates keep going up, value of bonds go down. So last year was the first year since 1969 that both the stock market and bond market ended the year in the negative. First year since 1969. The only asset class that made money is cash. So point is that, while this is fresh on people's minds, while there are people out there that are worried about, a recession, while they have this money in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever else, they might prefer to have it in real estate. And if you're there to tell them that this is possible and how it works, or at least, be the connector and, have me or somebody come do a seminar or workshop or whatever at your office, and then your clients can leave there armed with that knowledge. They might go, you know what? I think I might want to take this $500,000 that I have in my retirement accounts and invest it in real estate. Who are they going to do that with? The person that, that brought them that information.
How long is there a metric or anything for us to determine, like, or advise people how long it takes to get access to that cash? I mean, do we need to write a contract with an extended closing period, for example?
So are you talking about from the IRA to investing in? So you'll have to move. So let's say they had the money with Fidelity. Whoever they have the IRA or 401k or whatever with, it just takes a little bit of paperwork and time, maybe a couple weeks or a month or so, to get that money moved from where it is now to the new custodian that they will be able to purchase the properties through. And then once the money's there, you effectively just got to I'll hit on the self-directed IRA LLC method because that simplifies things a lot.
Yeah.
So if you're not using the IRA LLC method and you're just using the custodian, everything has to come from the custodian. So if you're purchasing a property, you have to write a letter and have it, sign it and send it to the custodian saying, purchase this property for this amount. And the custodian is, it takes some time to process it. There's probably going to be some sort of transaction, a processing fee there. And then they're going to write the check in the name of your IRA for benefit of you to purchase that property. So there might be transaction fees there. And then that takes time. It's a little bit out of your control. I actually had somebody that, before they were a client, missed out on a deal because the custodian wasn't very responsive and didn't send the check in time, and they lost the deal. So go ahead.
Yeah. So are you saying that the IRA LLC method is a better way to go?
Yes. So I wanted to say all that before I hit on, so the IRA LLC method, what you do is you open up, you have your self-directed IRA, so your money's moved to whatever custodian, the money's in the self-directed IRA. And then you open up an LLC. So this is a new LLC. So it's not an LLC that you previously owned. So the IRA owns the LLC. You do not own the LLC. The IRA owns the LLC. So technically the LLC is in your IRA. So it still keeps the same tax advantages, right? You position yourself as the uncompensated manager of the LLC. Then you instruct the IRA custodian to write a check for whatever amount, the full value of the IRA, partial, whatever, to the LLC. You put it in the LLC's bank account, and now you, as the uncompensated manager of the LLC, can write all the checks yourself. Can write all the checks and sign them yourself. There's no third party go through, right? You can just do it yourself. And so you can write the checks for the properties, write your checks for the repairs, but everything has to come from and go back to the LLC. So in other words, if you sell a property and you get a $50,000 capital gain, has to go back to the LLC's bank account. If you're having rental income from properties, everything goes back to the LLC's bank account, right? So that is a way to kind of cut out the middleman and have more control, which a lot of people appreciate, but not a lot of people, the small percentage of people out there that know that a self-directed IRA is a thing. There's even a smaller percentage of people that know about the IRA LLC method. So
that's something you can help them set up.
Oh yeah, very easy.
I think that's really cool.
And powerful.
And just going back to the dialogue we've been having about establishing yourself as a professional. What I'm writing down in my notes here is, having a conversation, starting a narrative around the IRA LLC method.
There you go.
I'm an IRA LLC method expert, or I know who the IRA LLC method expert is. Do you even know putting a post down there on Facebook, do you know what the IRA LLC method is and how that can help you, to invest in real estate in a tax-deferred manner?
Yep.
I mean,
you would be surprised.
Yeah, let's just put it out there and see what happens, see what conversations get started. It's amazing.
That's what I try to tell real estate agents. Like every now and then, all you got to do is just pepper some of that stuff in there. Like, did you know you could do this? And have just enough. You don't have to be an expert on it, but have just enough to be able for people to go, oh, I didn't know that. I'd like, and then, contact me for more information or whatever, however it is you want to do that. But I mean, you would be surprised at how many people, even not immediately. So, I mean, I made a post about a self-directed IRA, and weeks later, this girl screenshotted it and messaged it to me and was like, hey, is this a real thing? Can you do this? And so we had the conversation. I explained it to her. I have a meeting with her this afternoon with her and her husband. Right. So, but it was weeks after I made the post.
Right. Well, and one of the things too is, if let's say you have 5 or 10 people, reply or make a comment on the post, the agent can go, well, hey, listen, I've had such a great response to this. Instead of getting to you individually, I think we can all learn better as a group. So I'm going to get Andrew to come in, I'll get some finger food, some refreshments, and we'll all learn about this together. Yep. And that way you're not having to individually dial. And they may be, frightened to do that because they're obviously, we're scared to death we're going to get a question we can't answer.
Well, and that's the thing. Say, look, I'm not the expert on it, but I know one. We're going to do a workshop at the office. We don't have a date set yet. I mean, however you want to put it, but just say we're working on that. I'll put you on the list to let you know when we get that set up. Love to have you. Make sure to come. And you may want to put, just because we started with the IRA LLC method, we got off the boat for a little bit. Now we're back on it. Not to tell you how to do your stuff, but you may want to put in there like, hey, make sure you stay tuned for later on in the podcast, the IRA LLC method or whatever. Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to that'll probably be the title of the podcast, the IRA LLC method. All right, Andrew, we got to run. Tell everybody how you want them to contact you. So if I'm a real estate agent, I'm watching or listening and I'm like, man, I need to get, some time scheduled with Andrew to schedule this workshop. How do you want them reaching out to you?
Yeah, so my website address is atlasfinancialstrategies.com. You can go on there. There's a place to schedule, like request a consultation, or the phone number's on there to call the office. The phone number on the website will go directly to my assistant, so she'll be the one answering the phone. That phone number, just so you have it, is 850-542-4823. And my direct line is 850-542-4803. So between the two of us, she's usually more accessible than I am just because I'm meeting with clients or in and out of the office or doing whatever. But feel free to, if you call my office directly and I'm not here, leave a voicemail. I'm usually within 24 hours. I get back with people. So, would love to. And look, I'm there to give information. I'm not there to pitch, any products or anything that I do. I do fee-based financial planning. So if these people decide, hey, I want Andrew's help on the self-directed IRA, I'm charging them a financial planning fee. So, I'm just charging them for my help and advice. You're the one selling them the real estate. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. And these workshops are not a hard sell. It's not a high pressure cooker situation. You're there just to provide value and information. And there's this whole law of reciprocity that even these people, it may be 5 years before they're ready to do this. They're going to talk to people.
Oh, yeah. So, I guarantee you. Look, if you can give somebody, I know you got to go, but if you can give somebody's, information that kind of blows their mind, and they go, wow, I had no idea. That's really exciting. And so when I've done these lunch and learns with real estate agents, a lot of them go, holy crap, I didn't know that was a thing. And you can see them getting so excited. Well, if you're talking to clients about this and you're talking to people that, probably have, money sitting around somewhere, and you provide them, or I provide them this information, and they leave there and go, I didn't know you could do that. And even if they're not able to do that, if you just blew their mind with that information, when they're golfing with their buddies this weekend, while they're doing whatever, it's going to be top of mind because their mind just got blown. And they're going to go, hey, Bob, did you know that you can do this? Yeah, I was at this thing. They had a great, you got to call my real estate agent. You got to, whatever. I'm just telling you. I mean, if you can provide that kind of information where it really opens up somebody's mind and give them information that they had no idea that you could do, they're excited about it and they're going to tell people about it, which will give you more referrals.
Yeah, they want to return that value to you in some way. They want to share that knowledge. And, it's dangerous for any of us to assume that people know that you don't have to have 20% to put down to buy a property and know what an IRA LLC method is.
Yep.
So it's our job to communicate that to the public. And in so, we're going to activate buyers and sellers.
Absolutely.
And future clients, in whatever capacity. Andrew Martin, Atlas Financial, thank you so much. This has been awesome. I really appreciate your time this morning. I look forward to doing business with you in the future.
I'm honored that you had me. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks for listening to the Impact Agent Podcast. If you like the show and got something out of it, please like the Impact Agent Podcast on Facebook and rate and review the show on iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts. This really helps us grow the show and helps other agents find it. Please share it with your friends and coworkers as well. Want us to deliver the show to you via email every week? Then email me at jason@impactagentuniversity.com and we'll send you the show every week. Please let us know what you think about the show, what you like, what you don't, or possibly make a suggestion about a topic you want to hear. Email me at jason@impactagentuniversity.com or leave us a message on Facebook at Impact Agent Podcast. Until next week, everybody be productive, safe, and happy, and always keep learning. This podcast is produced by Johnny Gwynn at Deep Rod Studios in Mobile, Alabama, and is paid for and powered by ImpactAgentUniversity.com.